Hey guys, how's it going? In this video I thought I would just do a review of G1 Ultra Magnus. I just got him next to his buddy Optimus Prime there so you can kind of see the similarities between these two guys. As you can see, the cabs are identical. Ultra Magnus is just a recolor of Optimus on the cab, but the trailers of course are completely different, as you can see. Now they're fairly similar size. Let me go ahead and kind of get Ultra Magnus sideways there. And I'll scoot him back a little bit. And I'll go ahead and get Optimus kind of lined up with them. And as you can see, they are pretty similar dimensions there. Now Optimus, his his trailer here, let me just move the camera, maybe you can see it a little bit better. His trailer actually sticks out just a little bit further than Ultra Magnus's trailer, but they're pretty darn close to each other in size. Ultra Magnus's trailer is taller, but they are, like I said, fairly similar dimensions. You go ahead and kind of put Prime off there in the background. Now I'm going to show off of course, the primary feature of Ultra Magnus in vehicle mode, and that of course is his ability to be a car transporter for, you know, other Transformers. He of course was designed, obviously he's more in scale with G1 than anything else, but you can put some newer line stuff on him. The deluxes will generally fit on him fairly well. One thing you can do is you can kind of lower his rear pieces there and then lower his ramps, and you can kind of simulate having a car. In this case, well, he's a little too thick. I'll go ahead and grab G1 Prowl here and kind of simulate having them kind of drive up until they're at the top of the car transport, which is kind of neat. I'm going to go ahead, though, and actually lock this into position and take G1 Prowl off and put Transformers Prime Wheeljack up there, and what the heck, he's a little too large to go up there with him. G1 Prowl behind him. And yeah, RID Wheeljack is a little bit oversized, but he doesn't look terribly out of place up there, I don't think. And on the bottom, I'll go ahead and put G1 Tracks there. Followed up with G1 Jazz. That looks pretty good. Now the only way I'm going to get the rear closed, though, is because of his spoiler sticks out, so I'll just have to reverse where these two are. I'll put Jazz in there first. Tracks can go behind him. Shut up his rear there. And now he's got 4 cars on him, which is pretty cool. That's really just a nice play feature for this toy. It's really neat, I think. That's pretty much going to wrap up his vehicle mode. Be back in a flash to go over his robot mode with you. Alright guys, here I have Ultra Magnus transformed and into, really, I guess you could consider this kind of his secondary robot mode, since they never once showed this in the series. Never once, because I guess maybe that would have confused kids, who knows. Anyway, as you can see, he's just a white repaint of Optimus Prime in this mode. And this, of course, is, I guess, where later lines got the idea to repaint Optimus white and call him Ultra Magnus. You saw that several times in classics. There's a Masterpiece Optimus that's white recolor. They called him Ultra Magnus. But honestly, this kind of reminds me a little bit of the 2-part episode that was at the end of Season 3 called The Return of Optimus Prime. The Transformers were battling something called the Hate Plague, and the only way Optimus Prime could protect himself was to coat himself in something. I think it was kind of gold or gray in the cartoon. I'm not sure, but it was definitely recolored, and just when I see this, that's kind of what I think of. Even though he's white, I'm not entirely sure the exact color that was in the cartoon. It's been a little while since I've seen the episode. Anyway, I'll go ahead and just focus in on him a little bit more so you can kind of see what he looks like up close a little bit better. I think, honestly, he is a great-looking reimagining, I guess, of G1 Prime, you know, color-wise. Of course, this was originally part of the Diaclone line, just like G1 Prime was, but I really like the coloration on this iteration of the mold. He's got some posability, just like G1 Prime does, because he's the same mold. So he's got some movement in his foot there, bends at the elbow, can move back on the leg. And that's not incredibly useful because his legs have to be pretty straight for him to stand. So that's kind of limited value. Anyway, he rotates there at the shoulder, can bend back at the shoulder, bends at the elbow, rotates at the elbow, and he's got wrist rotation, and he can look up a little bit. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much going to cover this part of Ultra Magnus. I'll be back in a flash to go over his final combined form. Alright guys, here we have Ultra Magnus transformed and into his combined mode where he combines with this trailer. This is of course generally what he looked like on the cartoon. As you can see, he absolutely towers over Optimus there in robot mode. I'll go ahead and just move Optimus out of the way. He's a fairly large toy. He's about the size of a modern leader class actually, so he's really big. He's actually kind of in scale with MP10 of all things, so just to give you an idea, that's how large this guy is. Anyway, I'll go ahead and just do a quick 360 of him. I think, honestly, in this mode, he looks really good. I really like the way this looks a lot. Of course, the back is a bit lacking, but such is life. And he just looks really good, in my opinion. He's got limited posability, of course, being a G1 toy and all. He just rotates there at the shoulder. His elbow can swing in and out, bends at the elbow. His arms can move up and down a little bit, and that does afford you some options. He's got wrist rotation, and that pretty much is it for articulation. Of course, his missiles fire. Now, there's one fact, I don't know if this is mentioned in a lot of other G1 Ultra Magnus reviews or how widely this is known, but he can actually accommodate a mini-con on one of his arms. See that little port right there? Mini-con. And we'll just... fits on there perfectly. That's pretty cool. I don't know how widely known that is, just something I thought I'd share. Anyway, that's pretty much going to bring a conclusion to this whole thing. I definitely would recommend picking this guy up. He's a great figure. I believe right now, actually, you can get him on Big Bad Toy Store. It's a fairly recent Hasbro reissue. I believe they're also selling G1 Optimus, so if you don't get him, now might be the time. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching, and I will see you next time.